Good morning, lovely friends. I hope you are doing well. It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. It is raining today, but it's a very light, barely drizzle, misty rain that I don't think will lead to any real accumulation. However, is enough that it's running off of the roof of the greenhouse and going into the rain barrel, which is already full. That's a 65-gallon rain barrel, and it is full to the brim. So it's kind of a good thing that we're not getting tons and tons of rain right now because there's no place for it to go. Okay, so today is big seed starting day. I've already made all the trays, labeled all the tags and everything. It took me like an hour to do that because there's a lot of them. So I want to go through with you what we're going to be planting. I have basically it's cucumbers, summer squash, winter squash, herbs, and some flowers. Not a lot of flowers because a lot of those are going to be next week. So the other thing that I really need to do that I don't think I'm going to get to today is bump up the tomatoes. Those seedlings, these guys are looking great. They all have true leaves at this point, and I want to get them into like a 2-inch pot, so that, or a 4-inch pot, even not 4 inches, 2 inches or 2.5, like this size or a little bit bigger, the taller ones. I want to give them a lot of space for roots to grow. I probably, when I up pot them, will probably bury them almost up to their leaves because that stem all the way down in the soil will encourage more roots to grow right from the stem. And I'm seeing all the air pruned roots on the sides of these soil blocks. So these guys are ready. So if I don't get to it today, then it should happen tomorrow. The plugs for the farm are arriving today. We definitely won't be going out there today to put them in, but I'm looking forward to doing that. It's going to be really fun just to get everything filled up again. The bed's all nice and filled up. And we do have plenty of seedlings in here that will be going out soon too, but they still need a little bit of time. Okay, so what are we going to be starting today? Let me start with, I think the only 2 flowers that we have. The first one is Torch Tithonia. I love Tithonia, but I've never grown it. Supposedly this guy it gets big. It's like kind of like a cross between a zinnia and a sunflower, and it's got this really beautiful hot red color. It's really good for pollinators. It's got the ability to deal with a wide range of soil types. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I've seen it in lots of gardens. It's beautiful, and I want to get this in mine. Okay, then the next we're going to start is more dahlias, and these are from seed. This is my last packet of petite florets from Floret, and they're big open face disc dahlias. Now, I started a bunch of these from seed last year and put them in my small dahlia bed out at the farm, which I started by lining with hardware cloth, and those grew great this year. They're so pretty. I'm sure the tubers have expanded underground in there, and nothing got to them all year because it couldn't dig under. So that bed of dahlias was healthy and happy the entire season. So I'm going to grow a few more. Probably going to put these in my home cottage garden because dahlias are great for a cottage garden. And so, as time goes on, they'll get bigger, they'll add more tubers. Eventually I'll have to lift them and divide, but for a couple of years at least, we'll be able to enjoy those in the garden. Next, we're moving into herbs. So these I'm starting, normally I start all my herbs, and I've got a pack of them here. I start all of those in soil blocks because their seeds are very small and the soil blocks take up a lot less room than 6-packs. But there's a few seeds that I like to start in 6-packs. One of them is chives. And the reason is that I have 2 types here, the garlic chives and just the fine leaf kitchen chives. I like starting this in 6-packs because I can heavily sow them and then tease them apart and have individual plants. You can't really do that with a soil block. It's kind of an individual seed. And then I also start cilantro. This is a long-standing one, which is great, does not bolt as quickly. And, if you love cilantro, I always find it funny because, we love cilantro. Most people do, but some people have a gene that makes it taste like soap to them. I'm sorry, because I love cilantro. Anyway, when you want it is in the summertime when you're having all the tacos and salsa and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't want to grow in heat. So it tends to bolt. it grows better in like fall and spring when you're not really thinking about eating lots of spicy foods and, salsa and things. Anyway, so this is a long standing variety that is really good at slow bolting. And then I also have the Moroccan variety, just regular old cilantro. So these seeds are big and they won't go in a soil block very well. They just expand too quickly and break the soil block apart, at least if you're using the small ones. So I like to start those in 6-packs. Other herbs that we are growing, sweet marjoram and bouquet dill, which I use both at home as an herb and in the flower at the flower farm as a filler flower. And then we have lemon balm. These don't have pictures on them because they're Johnny's packets. Lemon balm, giant of Italy parsley, common chamomile, and more catnip. I've already sown a bunch, but I'm going to sow some more. Some of these herbs are going in my personal garden, but again, like half of the seeds that I'm starting, roughly half, are going either to customers or to the farm where I'm growing vegetables this year for donating to a food pantry. So I'm starting a lot of herbs and stuff because people love herbs and they're easy to grow. And if you have, some of my customers don't have a place to plant. They have a little patio or a kitchen windowsill. And so I want to be able to offer them container-sized vegetables and herbs that they can, easily do without having a plot of land to grow in. That's herbs. And then a couple more herbs. This is all the basils. I grow a lot of basil because, again, it's an herb that we use in cooking, but we also use specific kinds for flower arranging. Specifically, the citrus one, this doesn't have a picture on it, but Miss Burns lemon basil, and then this one is Everleaf lemon. It's a basil that smells amazing. Like, smells lemony, but it's like a sweet lemon, it's just so good. So it's wonderful as greenery in bouquets because a lot of times cut flowers that are grown for the cut flower industry are actually scentless, except for like lilies and a few others. So having that scent of the lemon, like the sweet lemon scent, is a really lovely addition to a bouquet because people's instant instinct when they get flowers is to smell them. Most of the time, most of what we're growing doesn't have any scent. Okay, Genovese basil. Another pack of Genovese, and then dark opal basil. This one is also a beautiful filler for bouquets. And Tulsi, I have 2 packets of Tulsi here and another packet of Genovese, but Tulsi basil, I could put this in bouquets if I wanted to, but mostly I like growing it for tea. Tulsi tea is wonderfully delicious and it's really, really good for anxiety and helping to calm the nervous system. So I love Tulsi tea. Okay, so that's herbs. Next is the biggest pack. We have all of the winter squashes. Now, I love winter squashes, pumpkins and squashes. I love them so much. They're like my favorite thing ever, which is gonna make it really hard this October because of keto. A lot of these things are a little too high carb, but I might allow myself a little bit when it comes harvest time because I love them so much. Okay. I did have some success this year growing some squashes and pumpkins in the front garden, even though I was battling with the rats. So I'm going to have 2 locations this time, and the farm has just a bigger problem, but I'm hoping I can build a new raised bed with protection so that I can actually have a big harvest and not have to worry about, the rats. So what we're going to do is start about 3 of each. So in a 6-pack, I'll have 2 varieties. The first one is this Lakota squash. I did grow this past year. It was gorgeous and it was very tasty. So looking forward to that one again. Then we have a new one. This is new to Botanical Interest and I'm very curious to see what it's going to be like, but this is a yellow, kind of like yellow acorn. It's called mashed potatoes. And a couple here from Hudson Valley Seed. This one is Black Forest kabocha squash. I love kabocha because I can roast this with the skin on. The skin is perfectly edible. Delicious, absolutely delicious. And then we have another one from Hudson Valley. This one is the Burgess Buttercup squash. And then some pumpkins here. We're gonna go back and forth with pumpkins and squash. This one, really fun to grow. And actually, the rats have a harder time with it because it's so small. It's harder for them to bite into because the rind is really tough. This is Casparita, because I grow them not only to eat, but for decoration in the fall too. Then we have the Cinderella pumpkin, which is very large. It's beautiful. One of these got started in the garden this year, but it got eaten before it could get big enough. So I want to avoid that next time. And then we have another little one. This is the Jack B. Little, so pretty much the same size as Casparita, but orange. Moving it back into some more winter squashes, we have this one is Sweet Meat. So it's a 1940s heirloom that has a fine grained texture, and it says delicious flavor. I like to add these to stews and soups as well, but I really just love them roasted with some butter on them. So good. Okay, another one that grew well in the garden this year and was very beautiful. I actually still have one. I have one of these and one of, I can't remember the other one. I'll have to find it. Maybe it's in here left, that I'm going to roast up very soon, but they're so good. Okay, this one is Festival Acorn Squash. Then we've got my favorite, very favorite squash. This is the Honey Nut. Now, I love butternut squash. I make butternut squash soup a lot in the fall. The kids look forward to that every year. Dylan, when he came home from college this year for Thanksgiving, was like, hey, can we have some butternut squash soup? It's so delicious. And I make it with, I roast them first, so they have like that roasted flavor. And then I put them in the pot with a pear usually and a ton of spices and some stock, and it's just delicious. So the Honey Nut is even sweeter and better textured than the butternut, which is what I love. They're smaller, like half the size, and so you need more for the same amount as a butternut. But the texture is more like a sweet potato, not as like stringy. It's just very delicate, and it's so delicious. So if you haven't had Honey Nut, I highly recommend picking up some at the grocery store this year if you can, and testing it out or growing it yourself. It is so good. Okay, then we have a Sweet Nut Acorn Squash. And Seminole, this one I grew last year as well, which I love. I was super exciting. This is a wild squash of the Florida Everglades, and it takes heat and humidity really well. Humidity is not a problem for us here. We do not have any in the summertime, but this is exciting to me because I grew up in Florida, and so it was really cool to see. This is literally an heirloom, an indigenous American heirloom from the Everglades, and that I think is super cool. Okay, then I have one that doesn't have a picture. It's a hybrid jack-o'-lantern pumpkin called Abominable. And it doesn't say anything on the packet about the size, but considering the name, I'm thinking it's going to be quite large. Then we have Jardale, which I've been growing for years, but it never really, most of the time it'll germinate, but it doesn't, like the plant germinates, I put it out, it produces a couple of male flowers, but I've had a hard time getting it to produce any female flowers. And so there's no pollination, there's no fruit. So we'll see, but I'm almost out of those. These are really old seeds at this point. When was this packed? For 2022. So, you know, it may just not germinate at all. I'm okay with that. Clearly have enough other ones to choose from. Okay, and then another one I grew last year, Howden. And finally, this one I tried to get a hold of last year, but it sold out immediately because it was a new seed for them last year. This year I got lucky and got a pack. This is the Black Cat pumpkin. I am so excited to see what this is going to be like. They're only about 1 to 2 pounds when they're fully grown. So not a huge pumpkin, but I think it's really cool. It's going to be fun. Okay. Staying in the realm of cucurbits, we are moving on to the cucumbers. And again, this is a huge selection of cucumbers. I love cucumbers. I like to eat them fresh. I love them pickled. I love pickles. Absolutely love them. And so I have a big variety here. And a lot of other people who get vegetable boxes from me love cucumbers too. So I wanted to provide a big array. Again, pretty much only starting 3 of each, although a few of them are getting a few more because they're more popular. So the first one is a very popular one. This is like the classic. It's Market More 76. You get about, they're about 8 to 9 inch. They're dark green fruits and they're nice and crisp. And then we have a new one that I have not grown before. This one is China Jade. It supposedly has a very sweet flavor, but definitely has a lot more spines on it than some of the other cukes. It's supposedly seedless and burpless. So we'll give it a try. Because that's one thing that a lot of people complain about with cucumbers is that they make them burp too much. All right, and I'm growing this again a number of years here, Bayet Alpha. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with this cucumber. It's not my favorite, but not because there's anything wrong with it. I just have others that I like more. Okay, this is a new one. It's from Johnny's. It's a hybrid seedless cucumber called Mojito. So again, seedless, which is so funny when you think about we're planting seeds. How's it seedless? Anyway, I don't pretend to know how they hybridize plants and make things like this, but this is Mojito. And so it's new this year. I'm looking forward to trying it out. Another one that I have grown multiple times is the Max Pack pickling cucumber. But my favorite pickling cucumber, if I can find it, is this one, Homemade Pickles. Last year, this was just so prolific. They are delicious, fresh or pickled. I love them so much. So I'm growing a lot more of these this year. I want to share some with people, but I also want as many as possible of these because they were so good. Okay, and then we have one called Slicing Manny's. This is just like your basic like sandwich cucumber. Yummy, but not like, wow, amazing. And then we have a new one here from Botanical Interest called the Persian Muncher. Now, I love Persian cucumbers. I like them a whole lot. But they tend, when you buy them, I noticed, no matter how the packing is, they tend to mold in the packaging if you don't eat them within like 1 or 2 days of buying them. So I want to avoid that by growing them myself. Then I can just reach out and grab one whenever I want one and not have to worry about it being moldy in the fridge. Okay, this one is particularly for customers who need to have just a little patio garden, and I'm going to put some on our patio as well. This is new as well. This is the Quick Snack Cucumber. It is meant to be grown in 6 to 8 inch pots, indoors or on a sunny windowsill, countertops, or balconies. They're parthenocarpic, so they do not need pollinators to produce fruit, and they taste best when picked between 1.5 to 2.5 inches long. Dark green, smooth skin. Sounds perfect. So I definitely am going to have some containers of these on my back patio for us, as well as providing them for my customers too. All right, this is a new one for me as well. This is Boothby's Blonde Cucumber. High yielding with creamy yellow skin and small black spines. Sweet, delicate taste with good crunch and no bitterness, even when large. That's sometimes what happens with cucumbers is if you let them get too big, they get a little bitter. Okay, then we have the final cucumber. This one is Dragon's Egg. Grown this before. It was good, but again, some of my favorites, Persian cucumbers and those homemade pickles, just hands down my favorite. Okay, then we have 2 melons that I'm going to start this year. I grew one of these, the Hearts of Gold, last year, but again, it got decimated by rodents before I really had a chance to get the melon to get any size. Next one we're going to start is one called Banana Melon. I don't have any picture on here. It is described as, there's no description on what it looks like, but as you can imagine, a banana melon probably looks a bit like a banana, and it's definitely yellow. All right, now we're moving into summer squashes, and that's going to be it for our seed starting. Is the Early Prolific Straight Neck Squash. It's just your nice yellow zucchini. Then we have this one was actually very yummy last year. This is Cube of Butter. It's a yellow squash from Botanical Interests, but it's very easy to grow. It's more compact, and it just really had a lovely flavor. Okay, this one is really fun, and every time I've grown it, it has gotten enormous. The fruits get enormous. This one is a great one for climbing. It's kind of like the tromboncino, you know, when you grow those over an archway, they'll hang down. This is very similar. This is zucchini rampicante. And when I grew this out at Fish Ranch last time I grew them, these things got enormous, absolutely huge, super fast, like zucchini tend to do. And I just couldn't keep up with their production. Okay, and then we have one more golden squash here. This is just a different variety of golden squash. And we've got a hybrid one called Sophie. No picture because it's from Johnny's. And another one that I really loved last year. It was so good and it was so cute, and it just it contained itself in its bed, didn't sprawl like crazy. It's the round zucchini. It's really, like I said, it's really cute. It's about 3 to 4 inches wide, and just, it looks like a little magic 8-ball and super yummy. All right, the final two. This one is a climbing zucchini, so it's fun. I wanted to do this last year, but wasn't able to get it to flower for me. This one you could put over a trellis. It is called Climbing Zucchini Incredible Escalator. And then finally, this one also produced absolutely enormous zucchini for me last year. It's the Long White of Palermo. Okay, so I told you that was a lot of seeds. That's just for this week. We also still need to start another succession of sunflowers because it is that time. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and get all of these seeds sown so we can get them onto heat mats. And if we still have time, then we will start bumping up some of those tomatoes. Okay, first tray planted. I'm so hungry, so I went and started the oven. I'm having trout and asparagus for lunch, so I put those in the oven, and now we're back out here briefly because the box of transplant or seedlings that I've got for the farm has just arrived. I wanted to unbox this with you just so you can see how things are shipped when you buy plugs. And so there are only 2 trays in this box. I still have 3 more trays coming, so another box. Those are all Lisianthus, but that won't be till the week 11, I think, which is the 10th of March that week. So these guys, it's Bupleurum and Campanula. And I'll tell you the variety once I get it out because I don't remember. It comes in a box, you know, live plants, so you can't leave these guys in here. You got to take them out right away. So let's go on and do that. Okay, I need something sharp. There we go. This is why I wanted to open them in the greenhouse because they're usually kind of a mess in there from being shipped. And I will leave them out here on this tray until this evening when I'll move them into the garage. They're going out to the farm tomorrow. The reason I'm going to move them into the garage, I do not have enough domes, plastic domes, to cover them and protect them against mice in here. And there's no mice in the garage, so I want to make sure they stay safe. Because wouldn't it be a huge bummer to get these beautiful seedlings and then come back in the morning out here and find that half of them are gone, or all of them. Okay, so they're nicely wrapped so that they don't, you know, get too messy during during flight. These are the Campanula. This is a champion mix. So I'm not sure, I think it's just a mix of colors, but they look gorgeous, right? And you can see on the back, very, very tiny plugs. So there are 288 in this tray. So that they can't stay in here for very long. It's very, very urgent that they go out and get planted as soon as possible. Let me pull one out and show you. I mean, that is super tiny, right? So you can imagine there's not much in the way of nutrient or water in here. You'd have to water them twice a day just to keep them. In fact, I'm going to give them some water to keep them from dying. So this is not meant to be a permanent storage location, or at least even a week-long storage location. These need to go in right away. Now, some great cardboard in here that is going to be used at the farm. All right, so move these aside. Now this should be the Bupleurum. Might be able to just slide them out. Yep. Okay. Yet another tray of gorgeous seedlings. Again, 288. They're in the tiny, tiny little plugs. One got disturbed here, but that's all right. I mean, good Lord, 288. There's a lot of them. It's this one. This tray is much more moist, but see, look how tiny, right? Want to get this in the ground right away. Now they've already been, they've been in a greenhouse. I think they're going to be fine. I'm not going to harden these guys off like I normally would in terms of setting them out for multiple days in the sun. What I'm going to do is where I plant them, I'm going to cover them with floating row cover for about a week, and then they'll be just fine. We're not expecting any freezing temperatures. These are all cold hardy annuals to begin with. We have no freezing temperatures coming up. In fact, we're going to be in the mid to upper 60s for the next, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. So I think it'll be really good for them to get adjusted. Now, when I go to transplant tomorrow, I'm going to have them sit in a tray that has water, water-soluble calcium that we made the other day, mycorrhizal fungi, and a little bit of fish emulsion. So it gives them a bit of a boost when they go in the ground, and then they're just going to do their thing. And so it's nice to have so many of them because I can spread them around in case they suffer in one location. I can have them somewhere else and still have a crop. All right, so I'm going to go back, eat my lunch, and come back and finish the final seeding of the seeds we're sowing today. Oh, I meant to say, in case you're wondering, if you haven't seen me do that before, the things that I put on top, I put cinnamon. I sprinkled cinnamon on top of those 6 packs. One, it helps with fungus gnats. It also helps with mold and stuff that grows on top, moss and things. And then I put vermiculite. I put vermiculite over every seed that I sow. It's really great at keeping the moisture more sustained in there, so not too wet, not too dry, just kind of keeping a nice level of moisture. Seems to help them germinate faster, and it's really great for seeds that need to be surface sown and need light to germinate, because light can get through and you can still get those benefits from the vermiculite. All right, I'm gonna go eat my lunch, then we'll come back and sow the rest of these seeds. Okay, well, finish the other tray of the summer squash and the cucumbers and stuff. Don't have time today to do the herbs because those are going in soil blocks. It's a little bit longer process. And I also don't have time to do the sunflowers or start potting up the tomatoes. We'll get there. We're going to a concert tonight, so I have to go get Aiden and then come home and get some stuff done, make some dinner before we head out, and definitely shower. I really need to shower before we head out. So tomorrow, we're going to go out to the farm and transplant these guys, and then come back here, and that's when I'll finish the sowing the seeds and also starting to bump up those tomatoes. Also tomorrow, the compost and the wood chips arrive here for the front garden. So that's another project to be done, hopefully over the weekend. So things are starting to really ramp up at this point, and there's lots of balls to juggle. But it's fun because it's not sitting, in December with not much to do. Either sitting outside or watching the snow or the rain, being too cold to garden. So, I embrace it. It's just a lot, but I'm excited. Okay. I just counted and I have just enough of these humidity domes, which I'm not really even using for humidity domes at this point, except for the seedlings that I just planted. I'm covering those because they're summer seedlings. They're on a seedling heat mat and they have a humidity dome. But for the most part, I use these at night. I come in here before sunset and I cover everything I can with these to keep mice from getting at them. And so far, I'm afraid to say this out loud, so far, knock on wood, it's been working. Now, I haven't seen any evidence of mice in here yet, so no droppings, no little footprints on anything. But I know that the one night I decide to drop my guard and not cover things is the next morning I'm going to come in and half the greenhouse will be gone. So I am not backing down. These things are going to stay covered until they're ready to go out into the garden or at the farm, where they'll still have to deal with mice and rats, but hopefully they'll be a little bit bigger and better able to battle them. Okay, that's going to be it for me today, you guys. Thanks for joining me on this little drizzly day. I'm looking forward to getting back outside tomorrow. I can't wait to get these transplants in the ground. It's going to look so much nicer out there when I fill in all the holes from the stuff that has died since I planted it in October. But like I said, we're getting there. Thanks again for hanging out. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.